All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about something pretty scary, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, and we're looking into this case of a woman who lost her entire bank account
Wow.
to a Geek Squad impersonation scam.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying because it really shows how easily this could happen to anybody. So let's just dive right in and talk about how this scam actually unfolded.
Okay.
So it all starts with a really convincing phishing email.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks exactly like it's coming from Geek Squad.
Right.
And it says that she's about to be charged for this automatic subscription renewal.
Uh-huh.
Of course, she doesn't remember ever signing up for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I'd freak out if I got an email like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, my heart would skip a beat.
You know.
Especially if it's a service you don't even remember signing up for.
Exactly. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So naturally, she's panicking, and she sees that there's a customer service number right there in the email.
Mm.
And, it seems totally legit at the time. So
Yeah.
she calls it, but guess what?
What?
It's not actually Geek Squad.
Oh, no.
It's the scammers.
So they basically have like a whole call center operation set up.
Yeah, they're sophisticated.
Yeah, to trick people.
So they've got it down. They sound super professional.
Oh, I bet they're like trained in, how
so-
to sound reassuring and helpful and all that.
So she's thinking she's talking to a real Geek Squad rep,
Hmm.
and they're walking her through this whole process of supposedly getting her a refund. But here's where things get really scary.
Okay.
They ask her for remote access to her computer,
Oh.
and they say they need it to process the refund.
Right.
So I'm curious, like from a technical standpoint, how does that even work?
So there's a bunch of different software tools that they use.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll trick you into clicking a link that downloads malware onto your computer. Or sometimes they might, take advantage of some kind of security flaw if your software is out of date or something. But basically, once you give them remote access, they can pretty much do whatever they want with your computer.
So they're like totally in control at that point.
Yeah, they can see your files, your passwords, your bank info.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So of course they got access to her computer, and then they pulled off this really tricky move.
What's that?
It's called the fake overpayment scam. And basically, they make it look like she received way more money than she was supposed to.
Oh, wow.
Like they manipulate her online banking to make it look like there was this big overpayment.
So it looks like she's gotten like a huge deposit.
Yeah, like out of nowhere.
Oh.
Of course, she's confused. She's like, where'd this money come from? But the scammers, they're right there. Like, oh, don't
Right.
worry, this is just a mistake. We just need you to send the extra money back.
They're so good at like playing on people's emotions.
It's awful.
Like they know that you're probably stressed out and confused.
Yeah.
And so you're more likely to just do whatever they say.
Yeah. And tragically, that's exactly what happened. She followed their instructions. And she ended up transferring all of her money
All of it.
to an account that they controlled.
That is so heartbreaking.
It really is.
I mean, to lose everything like that, it's just devastating.
And the worst part is this isn't some rare, isolated incident. These scams are becoming more and more common.
Oh, yeah. I've been hearing about them all the time.
And they're not just targeting individuals anymore. They're going after businesses, government agencies. It's a huge problem.
It really is.
So we've got to talk about how to protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We all know the basics, like be careful about what emails you open.
Right.
Don't click on suspicious links. But what are those more technical things you were talking about earlier?
So one of the best things you can do is enable two-factor authentication on all your accounts.
Two-factor authentication?
Yeah. Have you ever seen that where you log in and then it sends like a code to your phone or your email?
Oh, yeah.
That's two-factor authentication, and it basically just adds an extra layer of security.
So even if someone gets your password, they still can't get into your account unless they have your phone or your email as well.
Exactly.
That's a great tip. What about those software tools that the scammers use?
Yeah, so keeping your software up to date is super important
Okay.
because those updates often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities. And, it's tempting to just ignore those update notifications, but it's really worth taking the time to do them.
So that's like closing up those loopholes that the scammers could potentially exploit.
Exactly.
Okay. And what about downloading things from the internet?
Yeah, you got to be super careful about that. Like, only download files from websites that you trust. And be wary of, like, those pop-up ads that try to get you to download something. They could be really dangerous.
So always err on the side of caution.
Definitely.
This is all great advice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm learning a lot. But what if, despite all of these precautions, someone still falls victim to a scam? What should they do?
The first thing you should do is contact your bank and report the fraud. and then report it to the authorities and to the company that's being impersonated.
So even if you don't get your money back, reporting these incidents can help raise awareness.
Exactly. And it could potentially prevent others from becoming victims.
And I guess that brings us back to the big question. If you got an email like the one we've been talking about, you know something that really makes you panic and wants you to take action immediately, what would you do? Would you click on that link without thinking twice? Or would you take a step back, verify everything, make sure it's actually legitimate? It's a really important question to ask yourself.
It is.
Because knowledge is power when it comes to these scams. The more you know about how they work, the better equipped you'll be to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
So stay informed, stay vigilant, and stay safe. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.